These are all my computer parts that I used to flip PCs for profit, but the market completely blew up and not for the better. RAM is more than double what it used to cost, and same with SSD pricing. Just look at this 4TB NVMe drive that I purchased last year for a personal build from Amazon. It was right under $300. And it's kind of funny because at the time I was on the fence about buying it because I thought it was expensive then. Pretty happy I bought it now because that same drive is around $700, and similar models from different manufacturers are about that same price. It's safe to say things have gotten expensive. That has not only affected day-to-day humans who just want to build or even buy a PC, but also anyone who sells computers. Whether you're an individual or a pre-built company, you have felt these price increases. And if you have been thinking of wanting to flip PCs or have wanted to in the past, I won't lie, it's pretty tough right now. I have been doing this for the past 6 years or so, and this is the most difficult it's been. Makes you kind of wonder, is it even profitable in 2026? I'm going to build a couple computers in this video while I talk about things, share some tips and what I'm doing going forward to still be able to flip PCs in this tough market. I also share some insight on how I'm finding deals and share some recent pickups so you can see exactly what I'm buying. I'm grabbing the CPU, and when it comes to flipping PCs, you have a lot of options to choose from. Obviously Intel and AMD, AM4, AM5, LGA 1200, 1700, and their new Ultra series. A lot of options to choose between. The only viable option, in my opinion, is to decide between an AM4 CPU. I went with the AMD Ryzen 5 5600X. This is actually a really solid CPU, and it can be picked up for around $80 to $125, depending if you buy it online or like a local marketplace. But it will handle just about any GPU up to an RTX 5070. That's about the max that I would pair for it to reduce the CPU bottleneck. To hold the CPU and all the components, I'm going with an ASRock B450M ACR 2.0. Nice micro ATX motherboard with onboard Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Pretty decent rear I/O. It'll get the job done. When building an AM4 computer, you can either go with a B450 motherboard like I did or B550, but whatever option you decide to go with, try to keep the cost no more than $75. Any less, you will be increasing your profit margins. Any more, you will be eating into your profit margins. And now for the parts that have got affected the most: RAM and storage. Box of little SSDs. I know I already mentioned the pricing on these components is fucked. In the past, when I used to flip computers, I would be able to buy SSDs brand new and RAM brand new. It actually made sense for the profit margin and to provide those parts brand new for that peace of mind. Now with the prices, it almost forces your hand to go to the used market unless your pockets are just super deep. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to buy the SSD new or the RAM new at all anymore. The only thing keeping me alive is my ability to find good deals. For example, this 16 gigabyte here from Corsair, it's RGB and clocked at 3600 megahertz, which is the sweet spot for an AM4 build. But the price I paid was under $60, and that is just insane. I will take that any day of the week in this current market. Same goes for SSDs. I bought a bulk lot of 20 1TB NVMe drives for 60 bones each, which is a great price. I actually want to give a shout out to Edward. If you're watching this video, man, I really do appreciate it. He's a subscriber of the channel. He's been watching me and wanted to support me even further. So he sold me these SSDs for a good price. But yeah, you need to get good deals or you just won't be making any money. After this build, I'll go into more detail on what actually makes up a good deal, what prices to pay, and where to find these good deals, things like that. When it comes to cooling, you can either go with the AMD stock cooler that came with your Ryzen 5. You can go with an AIO, which actually help sell better just because they look better when people are looking at a computer. They're like, ooh, water cooler, tubes, all the RGB. So those are good for aesthetics and if your build actually needs the extra cooling. But a next step up from this stock cooler is actually what I went with, just a 120 millimeter tower cooler. These are a good upgrade in cooling capacity and in aesthetics. The exact option I went with is a Hyper 212 Halo Black from Cooler Master. Now for the most exciting part in the build, you're gonna wheel over here, grab the GPU, RTX 4060. This is one of the most important pieces in a gaming PC, but also for a flip. AMD doesn't really sell too well. Nvidia always gets the eyeballs. They're kind of like Apple, When people see Apple, they just think good. When people see Nvidia, people just think good. When selecting a GPU, the only recommendation that I have is to stay away from the Nvidia 10 series and the RX 580/RX 480 series. Those are all just pretty old now and lack driver support. I'd only recommend buying those for a personal use build, or if you're just trying to build something super budget. Baseline level that I recommend is the GTX 16 series or the RTX 20 series. Anything older, I don't really recommend. The RTX 4060 is a great middle ground option for entry-level 1080p gaming, has 8 GB of VRAM, and it's only 1 generation old. So if you can pick it up for a decent price, I would say no more than $220, you got yourself a pretty solid performing GPU and will make you some decent profit. For a simple but pro level tip, before you start any build, go ahead and set all the parts up on a test bench so you can make sure all the parts actually work together before you get it in a case. Here's the power supply I'm using for the build, and luckily these aren't ridiculously priced considering everything else. You can still pick up a pretty solid deal on the power supply. There's a little more over there. There we go, that's a post. Now for the case, and you can even go further, install Windows on the SSD, fully test all the parts in some games, or just stress test outside of the case. Here's the option I went with, around $50. The only piece of advice I have when it comes to selecting a case is just spend wisely. If the rest of your parts are only around $500 or so, don't go spending $100 plus just on a case. It's kind of wasted money and you won't get that back when it comes time to sell the computer. For budget builds, shop for a budget case. For higher end builds, go ahead and spend $100 on a case. There's a brief look at the computer. I'm just installing Windows and getting ready to test this thing out. It's a pretty decent looking build, and one huge thing going forward that I'm focusing on is these budget builds. If I think back to when I got my first computer, it was a $500 computer off of Facebook Marketplace, and not everyone has $1,000 or more to spend on a gaming PC. So these budget friendly options under $1,000, around $500 to $800 are perfect, especially in these inflated markets. Just don't be that guy selling super old components dressed up with RGB to fit a lower price range. That's just straight up scummy. Here's the fully finished build, nicely cable managed, and overall it looks great. Performance is perfect for 1080p. I tested out Fortnite with performance mode and averaged a solid 310 FPS. Shout out to the Ryzen 5 5600, great little CPU. In Warzone, I ran around with the balanced preset at 1080p and the average FPS was 137. With my total cost, I'm estimating the profit to be around $200. This exact PC is for sale with the links below, and if you happen to watch my PC flipping until I buy a house series, then leave a comment below if you want me to bring it back and do a road to $30,000 for the down payment. I technically could find a decent property with a $20,000 down payment, but I'd have to move out of California, and that's not happening right now. Anyways, completely went off track. We're back now. One of the most important factors when it comes to flipping PCs is the price you pay for every component. You don't want to overpay, and if you want to know the easiest way, hands down, to increase your profit margin, it sounds silly because it's just so simple, but just pay less for the part. But how do you pay less for parts and find good deals? The very first thing I'm going to say is replace the scroll. If you find yourself on your phone just scrolling, watching stupid TikTok videos, Instagram, YouTube, just swap the apps you're scrolling on. Start scrolling on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Mercari, OfferUp, Craigslist, Jawa, anywhere to buy and sell, and you will start finding deals. These are all deals in front of me. I'm gonna open them up while I share some tips on how I go about finding deals and deal hunting in general. If I had to guess, this is probably a GPU. Let's check it out. Terrific cutting skills. There's a thick boy GPU. Nice triple fan. Oh, this is an RX 6900 XT with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. I want to say it was around $400. It is an AMD card. I know I said in the beginning of the video that NVIDIA is just better for selling, but certain AMD cards like the 6900 XT, thanks to the 16 gigabytes of VRAM, should be good for selling. And my price should have been under the market value. I know I already said to replace the scroll, but this was bought on eBay, actually through my Discord server. There's an eBay bot. It'll just scan eBay for good deals. Once it finds good deals, it notifies you. So if you want a good chance at finding good deals, then join it. It's linked down below. Okay, this next package is some RAM, but I'm kind of scared because they're just loosely thrown in this package. We got 4 sticks. I want to say they are 16 gigabyte sticks, clocked at, okay, 3200 megahertz, but loosely packed. I'm hoping no components are knocked off. I kind of see some scratches actually on this memory module here. Oh, yeah, there's a broken component. Well, time to take some pictures of this and definitely document it. I'll test it out, make sure it works, but I don't think this stick is gonna work at all. I am bummed out about this because these were a pretty solid deal, which leads into my next tip. Buy in bulk when you can. Like, it makes sense to save more money. Sometimes it doesn't work out all the time. But if like a new part is on sale, a cooler for instance, $5 off, buy 10 of them, and then you save $5 on the next 10 builds. You know, it just adds up over time. Quick update on the RAM. It is not a good situation. You saw the packaging and how it all arrived. The seller was honestly lazy in that department. The sticks are not looking good. This one has this really scratched up memory chip. They all have knocked off components. I mean, every single one has a knocked off little component. Not sure what every little component does, but one of the sticks actually did post, and it is running a memory test 86 at 3200 megahertz. But the condition, I'm honestly questioning if I should even keep them. It sucks though. 32 gigabyte sticks, $88 each. Seller, why did you have to be so lazy? Oh my goodness. What is with this terrible packaging? There's literally like RAM holders and the RAM is just thrown in there once again. This one at least has some heat spreaders. Maybe it was a little more protected. It looks like we have the 16 gigabyte kit though at 3000 megahertz, white sticks, pretty clean. Hoping they work though. And it should have been around $50 or so. Again, from my Discord server, shout out that bot. eBay isn't the only place you can find deals. It's just my go-to place because of my local area. Deals are an hour away, 2 hours round trip. So they have to be a really good local deal to even be worth it. So I'm on eBay a lot. Let's go. Some more RAM. Okay, this time it is in some Walmart bags. Well, another white kit. These are really nice. They have like a glossy finish. Looks pretty sweet. 16 gigabytes again, clocked at 3000 megahertz. These will be perfect for any AM4 build. Little GPU. Okay, I think, oh, a little bent up right there, buddy. But we have an RTX 5060, 8 gigabyte version, PNY. Looks pretty clean. And I want to say it was around 250 bones or so. So not a bad price. Now when deal hunting, how do you know what to actually pay for each part? And when you come across a listing, how do you know if it's a good price right away? Well, it kind of just comes down to knowing and just doing a little bit of market research. I use eBay when I really don't know, and just look up whatever part you come across. So for instance, if you found an RTX 5060, look it up on eBay, sort it by sold listings, and you'll start seeing an average price. You want to come under that average price, and that's what I always aim to pay for every single part. If you're paying more than that average price you're seeing on eBay, that's a pretty good sign you're not going to be making much money. And really, the longer you do this, the more parts you buy, you really just come to know prices like right off the top of your head. So like for instance, Ryzen 5 CPUs, $50 is a usual good price depending on the model. Like if it's a 5600X, $100 or $115 max. Ooh, or for example, this CPU that I just unboxed, a Ryzen 7 5700X 3D, it was around $250, which is a great price. Average is about $400 just for this single CPU. Pretty good deal. Do want to check the pins. I see some thermal paste residue on the bottom actually, but looks straight to me. Just a bit dirty with that thermal paste. Another big thing when it comes to deal hunting is connections. Just forming connections with other people that are doing what you do. Then you can start buying in bulk and start buying at a really good discounted rate. I'm still struggling with said connections. Never had to cut a static bag before. That was a really tight fit. I have a thick single fan RTX 2060. Was probably around $110 with tax and shipping. I will say another thing about connections, it really comes down to time in game or time in market, or just however long you've been doing this, you'll start forming those connections. Vehicle fan dual-headed. I hope this is just a box that someone shipped computer parts in. I didn't order that. Okay, there we go. Yep, I can't believe they shipped a GPU like that. It boggles me sometimes how people ship stuff. We have another RTX 2060, also from EVGA, but this time it's a dual fan model. Last box, big boy. You can kind of see what it is right there, some GPUs. So we have 1, 2, 3 RTX 5060 Ti's 16GB models. This once again touches on the fact that buying in bulk is indeed really worth it. The seller on eBay had 3 of these. I was able to buy all 3 of them. And it was kind of funny, right when I bought them, someone in my Discord server was like, yo, who snagged those 5060 Ti's? I guess a few people were trying to buy them. They sold out quick. I honestly think these are new. I mean, both tape seals on that box they weren't tampered with. Dude, this is new. Yeah, this has never been opened. It is a 16GB model. Yeah, plastic peel all around it. All the port covers, PCIe cover. This was a really solid deal. I don't remember him saying they were new in the listing. That one's still sealed, and this one is still sealed. Wow. Pretty solid deals. Let me know what you think about them in the comments. And I'll be honest, getting good deals is super important. And I really don't think prices will go back to what they used to be, like, ever. I think we are stuck with these prices. And especially after all the companies started making more money for the same exact product with no extra work, there is no way they will drop prices when they already know that it sells for more. Good old corporate greed, but since everything is inflated, that means you can make more money if you are able to find those good deals and have a lower final cost in the end. I want to build another computer while I talk about how I price my builds for sale. Whether you built something more budget, like that first one with the RTX 4060 that I did, or if you build more high-end computers like the one I'm about to build right now, if you follow what I do, then you'll be able to calculate a fair market price for your computer, ensuring you still make profit, give good value to someone, and you can still rebuild the same computer. Let me grab all the parts, starting with this beefy 5060 Ti 16GB version that I just unboxed. I need this white motherboard box here. This actually has the motherboard and SSD that I'll be using. It has a CPU installed in the socket, but it's an 8400F. I don't really want to pair an 8400F with the 5060 Ti. I'm gonna be swapping that out with this little CPU right here, a brand new Ryzen 5 7600X. I will also need some RAM. I have a brand new 16GB kit of DDR5 at 6000 megahertz RGB. These were actually bought on Newegg a while ago as a combo. Pretty decent price. Bought it way before everything shot up. That's it for now. Let's go ahead and get everything on a test bench. Make sure it all works together. And I know I said I love the budget computers, but not everyone has the same amount of money to spend. Some people do have more money to spend. So I like to have a little mix of computers, budget and a little more high-end. Right now I actually have two RTX 5070 PCs for sale. They haven't gotten much traction, but it's still good to have those options. And a huge thing when it comes to pricing a computer for sale, say you get a great deal on the component. And for instance, this 5060 Ti, around $400. Right now they're about 600 bucks. But say you sell it for $400. Good luck trying to rebuild that same computer for the same price unless you find a really good deal again. If you get a good deal, you want to charge market value, not the price that you paid. I know it may sound simple to some people, but I see a lot of people, they'll get that mixed up, man. They'll get a good deal, sell the computer for, I mean, a good price, you know, someone got a really good deal on a computer, but they didn't make much money and they won't be able to rebuild that same exact computer to then sell again. Biggest thing is at least charge market value for all the parts in your computer. All right, listen for the peel. Little testing monitor. So I don't have a cooler on the CPU, but it won't be on very long. All I need is a signal. We'll see if it even gets hot. Okay, RAM lit up. It's a good sign. Is the CPU getting warm? Can't tell yet. Oh, there we go. Getting warm. Memory training might take a while. Might need to throw a cooler on here. Yeah, bad boy's getting hot. All I'm doing is setting the stock cooler just right on top of the CPU. Not even securing it. This one actually doesn't even have screws. It's just so I can easily set it on top of the CPU for just a quick test boot. Just like this. Come on. There we go. I was about to reset the CMOS because the memory training was taking some time, but we got to post. Time to finish this build off. Let's go. Here's the case I'm going with. Sama V52 in white. I love cases with the thick foam. Makes me feel so much better about shipping them. I've never used this case. First impressions, seems pretty good. Weight of it isn't too light. It's not super heavy. The fans look pretty nice. We have a total of 7 in here. And this was on Newegg for $100, but it was a bundle with a free case. So instead of having the other case be free, I just cut the price in half. So this one's about $50. Not bad. I had to install a few standoffs in this case, and it doesn't make sense because it's a full-size ATX case, but they were missing the 3 standoffs for any ATX motherboard. Make it make sense. Incoming! And yes, I know, there is thermal paste still on the CPU. To cool the CPU, we can see a bunch of space up here for a radiator. I'm going with this bad boy right here. Gamdius Xion E4, 360mm AIO in white with a little temperature readout display. Build is all done. Let's see how much I can sell it for. And I use this same method when I'm trying to find the value of a part, but for a build, you want to find the value of all the parts added up. So I just search every part to find the going rate and then get it all typed on a Google Sheet so I can clearly see it, and that should give you a good idea on what to charge. But keep in mind, there is a fine line between charging too much and still providing good value while making decent profit. After testing out the build and getting it listed for sale, all you have to do is wait for a buyer. And you can do everything perfectly. Find the best deals, have a super low cost, and build a really nice looking computer. But if you're in a low populated area, you will most likely experience trouble when it comes time to sell the PC. This can arguably be the hardest step in flipping a PC for profit. If it's taking you a month to sell a PC, then in my opinion, it's really not worth it. The best time to sell, regardless if you're in a high populated area or not, is the holidays. Christmas time is huge. And I recommend you take advantage of all the local platforms to sell on, Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, and even ship PCs to increase your chances of selling. That's how I sell most of my computers, is through shipping them. And just recently I started selling on my own website, and it's exciting to work on it and continue to have it grow. I would say flipping PCs can still be profitable in 2026, but there are variables. Go ahead and leave your thoughts below on the topic, or even share your own experiences if you're flipping PCs as well. Anyways, that's it for me. Check out the links down below. Smash the like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.